Mukhtar Sahota in the studio straight after this. So good to hear that again. Arif Lohar alongside Mukhtar Sahota and the track Jugni. Oh, there's been so many Jugnis. There have been Jugnis jugnying for years, and there's been a lot of Jugnis since that track came out. But for me and my relationship with Asian music and also the BBC Asian Network, there is only one Jugni, and it will always be that Jugni for its sheer force, the force of Arif Lohar's voice and the force of the production on that track as well. You may agree or you may disagree. Feel free free to get in touch. Anyway, the reason I played that was because I want all of you, and I know you're in kitchens and bathrooms and basically I can't even hear you, but I want all of you to give this man a big round of applause in your front rooms, in your workplaces. Please be upstanding for Mr. Mukhtar Sahota. Welcome to the show, brother.
Hi, Bobby. It's a pleasure to be here.
Always good to have you back. It's been about 3 years maybe since...
Yeah, probably about 3 years, yeah.
Yeah, 3 years since we last talked. Now, for those of you who don't know, you will know the band The Sahotas. Okay. Mukhtar came out of that band, and we'll talk a bit more about that later on in the interview. What was interesting was doing Bhangra Gold, you know, this red button thing the Asian Network did recently, where we played all this archive material. And who's there looking, I've got to say, not that much younger, only because you haven't aged at all.
Oh, thank you very much.
Most of these people, you know, we were watching this program, you know, our red button program, if you're listening at home. You could just see people looking really, really young. Oh my God, Johnny looks like a boy, and you know, Sadara Gill looks like, you know, my younger brother. And you were there looking the same as you do now, behind the keyboard, and I was like, this man has done a deal with the devil, because he basically hasn't aged in the last 20 years.
I have a good makeup lady, that's what it is.
So what was it like? You must have seen it. What was it like seeing that? Have you got lots of that stuff on video at home, or have you not seen it?
I think most of the stuff that you guys played, I mean, we used to record it when it used to be, you know, aired during that time. So it was all familiar to me, and I mean, it's quite hilarious watching it back, because it was a bit of like a comedy sketch more so, because some of the bands, the outfits, and I'm glad the video that you chose, the Sahotas, was a good one, and not. I
was going to say, you guys, brilliant black suits. You know, you could have been at any wedding over the last 30 years.
Exactly.
Whereas up in a Sangeet, were like, the aliens have landed.
I know, in them foil outfits. So it was like, it was hilarious. Yeah. I mean, it brings back good memories, because you know, that whole era, we were a part of it, and it was a great time. You know, coming out of the late 80s, going into the 90s. You know, it was a great period. You know, doing the live circuit and then touring abroad and stuff as well. You know, it was a magnificent time.
Now, obviously, since then, you've made a name for yourself as a producer of your own albums, as someone who dabbles and helps, you know, other people out, someone who's, you know, reeled into help satellite projects. That's been happening recently with the soundtrack to a movie. Am I right in thinking the movie's called The Jatt James Bond?
Yeah, unfortunately, that's what it's called. Yeah, when they told me about it, I says, okay, why Jatt James Bond? And I mean, there's two sides to it. They've basically, well, the truth is, I think it was just a quirky title. And they just thought, you know, it's going to get noticed, it's going to get hyped and whatever. But the producer has told me not to say that. And but basically his side of the story is that Jatt James Bond, the actual character in the movie, his mind is like James Bond.
Okay, all right.
So
as in, you know, he's very there's and kind of a bit of an action hero, that kind of thing.
That's it. Yeah. He says it's nothing like him as a character, but he's just, his mind works that way. So I thought, okay, I says, I don't know if the audience is going to buy that, but
look, even if he's nothing like the character, you will be playing the name's Bond, but which Bond? Okay. Can you play that game? We'll do it in about maybe 10 minutes time.
Yeah, we'll go for it.
Okay, and you know, I get the movie thing, because let's face it, Punjabi movies, regional movie industry, and you've got Bollywood, which is like a dinosaur. It's like Godzilla. You really need to do things to kind of stick out. And so what's it been like actually writing music for a movie? Because when I've interviewed Bollywood musicians, apart from A.R. Rahman, who basically just does his music and gives it in,
that's it,
you know, I've seen some very well paid, very famous guys going, I had this track, but it got rejected, and the director sent it back. It's a very different thing.
It's a different market altogether.
So what was it like? Did you have someone literally going, all right, that's fine, but we want the tune to do this now?
Yeah. I mean, you get that a lot, because what happens is, I mean, I'm working on quite a number of movies at the moment. There's 2 Bollywood movies, and there's about 3 or 4 Punjabi movies. And the thing is, they give you like a storyboard, and I try and get as much information as I can out of them, because what happens is sometimes they don't explain it quite well, and then you do something, and then they think, well, no, that's not what we want, and then you have to go back and change it again and stuff. So it's a lot different from what I do as my solo stuff, because I control everything. I know exactly which way it's going, and if it's an album, I like to go through a journey with the album. But with a film, it's all down to the scene, the script, the storyboard. So I have to work towards that, basically. And a lot of people say to me that some of the stuff doesn't sound like a Mukhtar Sahota type of track. I said, yeah, that's because I'm writing to a script, and it has to be done in a certain style, a certain mood, and sometimes I have to use instruments in a way that I wouldn't normally use certain instruments. So it's a lot different.
Isn't it annoying though? Because like you come across to me as a self-made man, someone who, as you say, you control all of your own stuff. A lot of music producers, especially, they're used to sitting in their own studios, calling the shots. Isn't it? Didn't it just kind of? I wouldn't say destroyed you. Did it not sadden you doing that, or is it kind of like, well, that's just a job, I'm getting paid for it, so I'm going to do exactly what they want me to do?
Yeah, sometimes it can be, because you're thinking, well, it's a great track. I mean, sometimes I've worked on a track and I'm thinking that's just sounding absolutely brilliant, and I know the people around me and like even yourself, if I was to play my first version and the second version, you'd be thinking, what the hell's going on here? Why ain't you releasing the first version? But the thing is, it's just they're so sort of restricted to what they want, basically. So and yeah, like you says, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a job. At the end of the day, for me, I get paid for it. And the thing is, the music industry is changing. As in the UK music industry, so it's like either carry on doing that, which there isn't much of a return from it as a music producer. So it's either I do that or I do the film music. So you have to give and take a little bit.
No, of course. No one's going to begrudge anyone for an honest day's work. And, it's interesting you say, oh, you would love version 1 and version 2, because, obviously, Rog Pyaar there, we played the, if I'm pronouncing that right, we played the world exclusive on that about a week or so ago. And I was just like, wow. For me, it didn't sound like you'd watered anything down. To me, it sounded like your sound had expanded, almost like it kind of felt, I wouldn't say expanded as in better, it just felt like a bigger type of sound. It sounded like you were working with an orchestra as opposed to just some hardcore beats and a filthy voice. I'm talking about Arif Lohar, obviously. And by the way, if you're listening at home, when I say filthy voice, I mean brilliant, gravelly, powerful. I don't mean filth. So I don't want to hear the first or second version, because I don't.
Well, there wasn't a first or a second version to these particular tracks that I've done. I mean, I produced them tracks, and they were blown away, the producers and stuff. And I thought, thank God for that. At least I don't have to do another couple of other versions of it. But so that went quite smoothly with these particular tracks.
So one track on the movie was with Arif Lohar. Obviously, we've already played Jugni. Is this a lifelong kind of relationship now? Because when I think of him, I think of you, and when I think of you, I now think of him.
Okay, yeah. I mean, this was just purely coincidental, really. The producers contacted...
Oh, you didn't bring him into the project?
No,
it was just, okay,
no.
all right.
They were already in contact with Arif, and they says, well, look, we know that you've worked with him. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why there was no other versions of it, because they know that we work together so well. And I mean, Arif was really surprised when he knew that I was doing the music, so he was quite relaxed, because I mean, he was saying to me over the phone, he says, I don't know, he goes, I'm giving my vocals here and there, he goes, but I don't know what these producers are doing to my voice. So he was quite relaxed when he found out that I was going to be behind the music. So and we've got that relationship as well. So if I need to make any changes to the melody, the composition, and I need him to do a few extra ad libs or whatever, he kind of understands which way I'm going to take it as well. So
we're going to play the track that you did with Arif for the movie. Tell us just a bit about the track and what it's about.
Arif Lohar's Jis Tan Nu. It's quite an old melody on this track. It's like Arif Lohar's dad. He used to sing a very similar melody to this particular track. So now we've kind of brought it back into the 21st century again, and you know, just change the vibe to it. Basically,
you brought into the 21st century. Your cover for Jugni had Arif sitting on a motorcycle, looking like a Hell's Angel. Is that what you mean by bringing it into
exactly. Well, there's a funny story behind that. We were in Canada at the time shooting a video. He goes, "Oh, why can't we bring a motorbike in?" I said, "What do you want a motorbike for?" And he goes, "You know, one of them, he couldn't pronounce Harley Davidson."
Yeah.
And I says, "All right, okay." I says, "When we get back to the UK," I says, "you know, there's a Harley Davidson garage near our end." I says, we can take a couple of photographs there. So that's how that came about.
Oh, okay, all right. Great to know that. There's me thinking that was taken in the wilds of Colorado whilst you two went on a boys trip together. Actually, it was in a Harley Davidson garage in Oldbury or a place like that, no doubt.
Wolverhampton.
All right, I'll let you introduce the track.
Yeah, this is Jis Tan Nu by Arif Lohar.
And also Mukhtar Sahota.
मोहब्बत दिल चौंक लेके नहीं जांदे मोहब्बत दिल चौंक लेके नहीं जांदे मोहब्बत मजबूर वेके नहीं जांदे मोहब्बत
sounding absolutely epic, like an army marching and singing at the same time. Jis Tan Nu from Mukhtar Sahota and Arif Lohar. Okay, I didn't entirely get this, but I get it now. That is another exclusive here on the BBC Asian Network, and it's so exclusive. Mukhtar, am I right in thinking Arif himself hasn't heard it?
No, he hasn't heard the final version of it, no.
Even though he sings it, and even though he sounds like an army of Arif Lohars on motorcycles, going across the Pakistani desert, driving towards the city, he still hasn't heard it.
He hasn't heard it, no.
Hey. All right, let's go and put a call into him right now.
BBC Asian Networks Bhangra Britain season.
This Thursday, get ready for a special Mera Safar.
Hi, this is Chenny Singh from Alam. I'll be live in the studio with Ray Khan to talk about my journey, including my childhood, my contribution to Bhangra industry, my OBE award, and lots more.
This Thursday evening from 9.
BBC Asian Networks Bhangra Britain season.
Hariba! So it's very, very fitting that we're in the middle of our Bhangra season, which started off with Bhangra Gold on the red button. Lots more to come up, by the way. It's very fitting that tonight we would have, or should have, Mukhtar Sahota in the studio. Mukhtar, we're going to, we always do this. We have to do it. Okay. I would be hassled in the streets if I didn't. So we'll do it in about 5 minutes' time. I just need to ask about the Sahotas and maybe you could just announce the fact that you guys are reforming and you'll be playing Has Ho Gaya on some big stage at Glastonbury or something. Okay. But we'll find out in a couple of minutes. All right. Just to go back to the current project you're involved in, Jatt James Bond, brilliant title and an infuriating title at the same time. So you worked with Arif and you worked with him before. You also ended up working with Rahat Fateh Khan on this album. What was that like? How did that come about?
Well, they had 2 Rahat tracks that were already recorded, so I didn't get to meet him or even have any discussion with him because they were already recorded. And they played them to me. They says they're pushing for me to do the music for it. I says, well, look, it doesn't matter to me who the artist is. The song's got to grab me. I says, and if it's a great song, then I will definitely produce it. So they gave me 2 Rahat tracks, and this is the one I chose, Rog Pyaar. And so that's how that came about, basically. Yeah. So I had his vocal sent to me, and I did the music production. And
as a producer, what's it like when you get sent vocals? Do you sit there with a critical eye saying, I have Rahat's vocals, okay, tonight I'm going to see if he's really as good as everyone says he is? Because obviously, unless it's your own tracks, you're listening to all the other tracks he's making, like any of us would. Do you sometimes sit there breaking down what they do as singers, or when you're a producer, do you just see them as animals on a production line?
No. It's definitely. I'm really intrigued to hear his vocal and see what he sounds like as a raw vocal, because we always hear his tracks obviously all finished and whatnot. So it was great just to put his raw vocal on through the studio speakers and see what it sounds like. And he is amazing. His tuning is perfect. You don't need to touch anything, because with most singers, it doesn't matter how good they are, how established they are. You always have to sort of fine tune them now and again. They'll go a little bit flat or what have you through the vocal recording. But with Rahat, I didn't need to do absolutely nothing on his vocal. It was just perfect, key perfect, and it makes my job a lot easier, because the thing is, I shouldn't really be sitting there trying to make somebody sound good when that's what they do for a living, and especially the established artists, it's like you don't expect to be doing that. But Rahat, I must admit, his vocal was bang on.
And in your professional opinion, is he the man with the baton in his hand after Ustad Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan? I know he's his relative, and there are a lot of other singers out there now. Remember, back in the day, there was Nusrat, and he was the guy who was really getting recorded loads. Now you've got Sufi singers coming out of India, coming out of Pakistan. You've got people who've got aggressive voices, people who've got mitti avazes, all that kind of stuff. Would you say Rahat is the man wearing the crown?
No, I think Nusrat was just something else. I mean, his voice Rahat doesn't have that range that Nusrat had. And there's only one other guy, I don't know if you've heard of him, Faiz Ali Faiz.
No, I don't know about him.
Yeah, if you Google him, yeah, he's absolutely brilliant.
Wow.
If you listen to him, I would say he's more closer to what Nusrat was doing back in the day. Rahat, I mean, I'm not a great fan of Rahat, I must admit. But he's an exceptional singer, no doubt.
An exceptional singer. What do you think about, I mean, you've just done music for a movie, and that's fine. If we just put that to the side, what do you think about, in terms of professional singers, coming in and now doing tracks for movies that aren't classic movies like they were back in the day? You know, back in the day, you'd see a film like Nikah or Pakiza, and you'd say, okay, this is made classically, the dialogue is classic, and you understand why all these great musicians and singers have gotten involved. Now you've got Rahat, who is, as you say, an exceptional singer, and he's singing, but it's a movie about a guy who left his diamond on a plane and an item girl saved him. You know, what's your personal opinion about that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I think a lot of it's changed. I mean, lyrical context now, if you look at the kind of songs that are coming out of Bollywood, let's put Punjabi music aside, or the Punjabi films, but coming out of Bollywood, I think the standards have dropped to such a low. It's incredible. I mean, like with Honey Singh coming in, I mean, he's a great producer, but I think he's a terrible rapper. I don't think that, you know, even his lyrics is just like mumbo jumbo. I mean, I think my nephew, you know, who was just born a couple of months ago by the name of Kai, give him a shout out.
First shout out on radio, Kai.
I think he could, you know, put poetry in a better way, because the thing is, some of it just doesn't even make sense. I mean, I heard a track the other day called "I Want a Hangover" or something. Okay. And you think, well, that doesn't even make any sense. Why would somebody want to say, "I want to"? I feel like a hangover. That's the worst part of going out for a drink. So, but yeah, I think the standards have dropped. Okay. But I mean, saying that, there is some good music coming through as well. Yeah. You know, like you says, you know, people like Rahat and Arif Lohar and a lot of other singers who are trying to bring back, you know, what's kind of lost in our music today. Okay,
look, I just want to read out some reactions. First of all, Sanam obviously does not know about your amazingly long CV and pedigree, because he was talking about your song with Arif Lohar. He goes, it's very powerful in meaning and it sounds fantastic. I think you have really got a future here.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for that, Sanam. But obviously moved quite a lot by the song. Shabana Hussain has gotten in touch with the show saying the intro to the new song is awesome. Oh, and I love his long hair. Now, I don't know if you mean Arif or if you mean Mukhtar, but Mukhtar's still rocking the long hair.
Yeah, I don't have that thick moustache that what Arif carries around.
Okay, all right. Look, we're going to play the track that you did with Rahat, but we're going to do it in a minute. Everyone who comes on the show usually has to play a quick game. I'm telling you now, there's no prizes involved. At the moment, every time we do this game, whoever comes in usually gets 1 or 2 out of 5, and they basically just suffer major embarrassment. I am hoping the same thing's going to happen to you, if you don't mind. Is that all right?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so tonight's game is called, the name's Bond, but which Bond? Are you a massive, not Jatt James Bond fan, but are you a massive fan of James Bond full stop?
Not a big fan of James Bond, but more so
this is already not looking good.
Yeah, Daniel Craig, yeah.
Okay, well, you know there's been many Bonds.
Yeah, I know.
Do you know the different Bonds, right? Pierce Brosnan, Timothy Dalton, Roger Moore, Sean Connery.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want you to tell me which Bond you're listening to, okay? If you get the answer right, you are going to hear this. And if you get the answer wrong, you're going to hear this. Don't even ask me how that got into the system. We can't get it out, by the way, just like he can't, as you can hear there. Okay, so let's do this. All right, the first Bond you're about to hear. Are you ready? Okay, let's do this.
If only that were true of you and I, Moneypenny.
That is...
Oh, look, if I'll tell you what it said. If Only That Were True of You and I, Miss Moneypenny. Now, they've all got different accents, but some of them have got stronger accents than the others.
I'm going to guess that's Roger Moore.
That, my friend, was Pierce Brosnan. GoldenEye, Tomorrow Never Dies, The World Is Not Enough, Die Another Day. Just look, have a listen again. Have a listen again, and you'll hear it. You'll hear it then, all right?
If only that were true of you and I, Moneypenny.
Yeah. He's got that kind of that little, that smooth thing going on. Yeah. Okay, all right. Are you ready for this one?
Go on.
Just a drink. A martini, shaken, not stirred.
Now that definitely is Roger Moore. No.
Look, to back you up, if I didn't know the answers, I would have said Roger Moore, because that guy doesn't sound as Scottish as he has in the past. That was Sean Connery.
No way.
Yes, that was Sean Connery.
He's got such a strong accent.
I know. But anyway, well, don't worry. Look, as I say, you're joining a long list of people who've lost at these games.
Okay, so I'm doing well. Then.
You're doing well. You're doing well, getting 0 points at the moment. Okay, so you only have Timothy Dalton, Roger Moore, and Daniel Craig left. All right. Okay, so we're playing. The name's Bond, but which Bond? Which Bond is this, Mukhtar Sahota?
You don't have to worry about me. I'm not going to go chasing him. He's not important. And neither was she.
That's Daniel Craig.
You think that's Daniel Craig?
Wajib!
Hey! 1 out of 5. 1 out of 5. The latest Bond, obviously, Casino Royale, Skyfall, Quantum of Solace, and you could see his muscles rippling as he said that. Okay, all right, 2 more left. All right.
Okay.
My name's Bond. James Bond.
Who was that?
That's Roger Moore.
Wajib!
This man's doing. This man's Bond-like in his approach to this game. Okay, yeah, that was definitely for me the best Bond out there. It's saying the mortal lines. The name's Bond, James Bond, Live and Let Die, Moonraker, the man with the golden gun. You're kind of the same age as me. You know that man was a Don. Yeah. All right, so there's only 1 more Bond left. You're going to be able to do this just by a process of elimination. But just tell me, which Bond is this?
Believe me, my interest in her is purely professional. Just taking the Aston Martin out for a quick spin.
I think that's Mr. Dalton.
Wajib! Hey! Seriously, man.
So I've done
3 out of 5, brother. 3 out of 5 on our very special James Bond game. That is absolutely brilliant. I wish I could give you a present, but I can't, and I won't. So there you go.
Oh well.
Okay, I'll tell you what we'll do. What we will do is finish with your track with Rahat Fateh Ali Khan. Okay. So before we do actually press play on that, I have to do this. I had my big boss come up to me earlier on and say, you are going to ask him if the Sahotas, all of them, not a little combination of 1 or 2 or 1.5 of them, are the Sahotas' original lineup getting back together? Or is there even a hint that it might happen in the next couple of years?
Not at the moment. It's only going to be Serge. Serge is releasing his own solo project, but the band is definitely not coming back together.
Okay. No, look, fine,
I'm
fine.
I'm not allowed to say any more than that.
Oh, what does that mean? What the hell does that mean? So what does that mean?
My lips are sealed.
But that means, to me, that says, well, it could happen.
Well,
or are you saying you're not allowed to say anymore?
Well, you can never say never.
You can never say never.
Yeah. I mean, Take That came back together, so...
Yeah, I know. But you know what they say? Never do business with family or friends.
Yeah, I know.
Is this one of those situations?
It's one of those situations.
Oh, God, all right. Tika, understood. All right, okay. We're going to finish with the track you did for Jatt, James Bond. The name's Bond. I could do a very funny play on the word Bond, but I'm not going to do that.
All right, okay.
This track, you alongside Rahat Fateh Ali Khan. Is there anything else you want to say about the movie? I know it's out very soon, isn't it?
Well, it's going to be released on the 25th of April.
Okay.
So those people who love that kind of movie and Punjabi movies, and who are fans of Zippy and Bungle, you could go and see this film. Yeah, on the 25th of April.
And these tracks are out tonight, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for coming in, Mukhtar.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. I really enjoyed it.
Mukhtar, I just want to say to you that I am so happy you didn't essentially fall into a pit of... I can't believe I just did that.
I'm taking the sound effects back with me.
I can't believe I just did that on top of Rahat Fateh Ali Khan. I better stop now, man. You're listening to Mukhtar Sahota and the amazing Rahat Fateh Ali Khan. The track Rog Pyaar there from the movie Jatt, James Bond.